Good day once again. This is the second part of Chapter 7, E-business Risks. Still with us is Miss Pasinio, and she will be discussing the continuation of this chapter. So last time we've discussed about the introduction, the difference between e-business and e-commerce, the evolution of e-business from EDI or electronic data interchange up to supply chain management and collaborative commerce on top. That's a sixth phase, and protocols TCP/IP. Now we'll have the IP address as the continuation, and hopefully you'll be able to see that particular picture if it's not visible yet. So here's our picture, and let's hear again Miss Pasinio. All right, let's begin.
IP address or Internet Protocol address is a numerical label assigned to each device connected to a computer network that uses the Internet Protocol for communication. So an IP address has two main functions. It serves as a host or network interface identification and serves as a location addressing. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is a standard markup language for documents designed to be displayed in a web browser. So the web browser receives the HTML documents and from the web server or from a local storage and render the documents into multimedia web pages, and it describes the structure of a web page and originally includes cues for the occurrence of that particular document, while XML stands for Extensible Markup Language, and it is a markup language that defines a set of rules for encoding documents in a format that is both human readable and machine readable. So human readable means any encoding of a data or an information that can be naturally read by humans, while machine readable means a structured data in a format that can be processed by a computer. So in today's world, numerous professions requires at least some proficiency with computers and technology, and XML is commonly used in different workplaces. So XML and HTML are the markup languages defined for the distinct purposes and have several differences. But the prior difference is that in XML, there are no provisions for defining new elements, while in HTML, it doesn't provide a specification to define new element, and it uses predefined tags. So XML can be used to build markup languages, while HTML basically itself is a markup language. So e-business requires allowing access to some part of organization's information system. So basically at any stage, there is the threat of unauthorized access. As what I have mentioned earlier, e-business is any kind of sales, purchasing, services, or other business activities on the internet. But the internet is and it will never be risk-free, and it doesn't give us that assurance that we will be doing e-business smoothly and simultaneously. So for us to understand the risk of e-business, specific risk and controls related to e-business or privacy and confidentiality, securing information and maintaining system availability, and transaction integrity and business policies. So the first risk associated with e-business is privacy and confidentiality. Privacy concerns the protection afforded to the proprietary information, including the personal information and information related to an exchange or a transaction, while confidentiality is similar to privacy except that it focuses on information that is specifically designated to be confidential or secret. Privacy and confidentiality are extremely important in e-business for three particular reasons. The first reason is that e-business provides an opportunity to collect more data about buyers and sellers than it is possible in a brick or mortar world. So a business are able to gather more information about a specific buyer or seller. So with this amount of data, they should at least see to it that it is private and no other data will be given to others. The second reason is that the internet allows the dissemination of information to more people more easily than through any other communication channel. So informations are really very important, and we users should be responsible enough that when using the internet for such purposes, we should first think before we click, as the very famous line is said, so as to not damage someone or destroy an entity as a whole. And the last reason is that information obtained in e-business exchanges may be captured without the information provider's knowledge. So this is basically the most dangerous part when using this kind of platforms, because we have no idea if a person is able to obtain an information without even giving a heads up to the provider, and that could possibly compromise that person and might eventually lead to a negative outcome in the long run. The growing expanse of e-business and the widespread availability of online database raises many fears regarding loss of privacy and many other statistical challenges. Even so, with the encryption and other forms of protection for that individual databases, we still need to protect against the violation of privacy through linkages across multiple databases, and privacy policies should at least be implemented, and businesses and software applications may use internet tracking tools to monitor behavior over the internet. So the privacy policies has two main purposes. First is that they protect the entity, because because they clearly spell out how they will treat proprietary information. And the policy can foster transparency and trust between operators and users, and having a clear and a concise and a transparent and an easily accessible privacy policy will immediately increase the level of trust between you as a business and between you as a business owner and to your users. And the second main purpose is that they provide assurances to business partners about how their information will be used. So,
All right. So before Pasinio will proceed, remember the discussions in Chapter 2. Chapter 2, by the way, was legal and ethical issues for IT auditors, wherein at the last part, there was a discussion about privacy being a penumbra right. So meaning it is a gray area. It's not clear like which is private or not for certain organizations, most especially if exposed online. So it's a matter sometimes of company policies to identify which of these information should be kept private or not, under also the Data Privacy Act of 2016 in the Philippines. So certain information should be kept private or confidential for the protection of the organization. Remember, information is considered a scarce or valuable resource that can either make or break a business. Okay, proceed.
business and software application may use internet tracking tools to monitor behavior over the internet. So some devices are used that serves as a tracking tool in the web. And the first is the cookies. Cookies are small text files that store information in your browser. So when the user visits a website, it might store some cookies to recognize the user in its future visits. And when you visit that web page again, it will eventually remember you from your last visit. So these cookies keep track of your time and also customize your browsing experience and display some targeted ads. But although most cookies are harmless, there are some that stick around in your browser for longer intervals and track your browsing activities. So these cookies are called third-party cookies, and they track your web activities. The second is
Yeah, you can notice that actually when you, for example, visit a certain website or web page, and then there's a question there that would you allow cookies to be opened or applied to that particular page. So we have to be careful because sometimes certain information could be confidential, will be required for us to get in that website. And we have, again, be vigilant about it because you'll never know if certain information like our PIN of our ATM or the number would be asked. So that's dangerous. We really have to close it once and for all. Anyhow, let's proceed.
logs. The purpose of this system is to provide the user with facilities to log information and to retrieve it later on. So the purpose of a log, if you see it in a security point of view, is that it acts as a like a red flag that something bad is happening, and but reviewing the logs regularly could help identify malicious attacks on the system, but given that large amount of log data generated by the systems, I think it is really impractical to review all of these logs manually each day. So the log monitoring software takes care of that task by using rules to automate the review of these logs and only point out events that might represent specific problems and threats. And third is the spyware.
Okay, so before spyware, logs actually are very important as said. So there is a certain software there wherein it can actually check like what day, what specific, and what really complete date, both month and day as well as the year will be able to be retrieved. And then there are also like the websites even which are visited. So what particular components of the company's systems and most especially the accounting systems or even the other systems, electronically speaking or technologically speaking, are being accessed into or to. So we'll be able to know if there are attempts. Because normally, if we are going to give positions to persons or people in the organizations to become employees, they have certain websites that they can access, unless if the organization allows all websites can be accessed. Or but if we are talking about confidential information, so only specific portions of the system. So what if there is a log there showing about certain access of this particular part? If it is accidental, of course, that's just going to be like one out of certain numbers. But then if it's like persistent for that day, so something could be being attacked to that. So we can ask, or we can actually be investigating as to the reason why that happens or why that is. All right. So I hope that is clear.
Spyware. Spyware is another type of internet tracking tool, and it operates by installing applets or other software programs on a user's computer that transmit usage to a third party. The second risk associated with e-business is securing information and maintaining system availability. Security is basically an essential part of any transaction. Who wouldn't want security, right? So it is very essential to a transaction that takes place over the internet, and customers will lose his or her faith in e-business if its security is compromised. So one of the measures to ensure security is securing e-business information with encryption.
Yeah.
Encryption is a very effective and practical way to safeguard the data transmitted over the network. So the concept here is that the sender of the information encrypts the data using a secret code, and only that specified particular receiver can decrypt the said data using the same or a different secret code. And we can say that encryption is a part of any network security system and is a really particularly important in e-business.
Yeah.
Some of the popular protocols over the internet to ensure secured online transactions are Secure Sockets Layer or SSL, Secure Socket Shell or SSS, Secure Electronic Transaction or SET, Secure HTTP, and Secure Socket Layer.
so many secures as terms. Anyhow, encryption again is the process of converting a readable text into an unreadable one. We call that ciphertext, and we need a decryption key or a decoder key to be able to unlock the message that is encrypted. All right.
SSL is a standard security technology for establishing an encrypted link between a server and a client, typically a server and a browser, and it is basically the most commonly used protocol and is widely used across this industry.
Mm-hmm.
While SSH, also known as Secure Shell or Secure Socket Shell, is a network protocol that gives users, particularly system administrators, a secured way to access a computer over an unsecured network. While Secure Electronic Transaction or SET is a secure protocol developed by MasterCard and Visa card. This mainly focuses on, I think, payments, and it is used by e-commerce website to secure electronic debit and credit card payments, and it is used to facilitate the secure transmission of consumer card information through electronic portals on the internet, and is responsible for blocking out the personal details of such card informations, thus preventing the merchants, hackers, and electronic thieves from accessing consumer information of that particular owner of that card. And lastly, the Secure Hypertext Transfer Protocol, or SHTTP. It extends the HTTP Internet Protocol with public key encryption, authentication, and digital signature over the Internet, and it supports multiple security mechanism, which provides security to its end users and works by negotiating encryption scheme types that are used between the client and its servers. Another measure to ensure security is securing electronic payments. So, electronic payments allows customers to pay for products or services electronically, but there are times that, like, when you randomly think and ask yourself, are electronic payments secure? Something like that. Yeah, you get to ask yourself about that. But as we all know, credit card is this
Yeah, that is a very valid question that could be asked.
is credit card security is a top priority for any business, especially if you have an online store or use internet to complete payment transactions in any way. But we should not worry because there are a number of security standards and protocols in place that ensures the security of online transactions, that assures us that it is safe. And here's how we can abide by industry standards and keep sensitive data secured. Business should learn about the secure electronic transaction system that was explained earlier already, and also ensure your electronic payment system is PCI compliant. PCI stands for Payment Card Industry, and when you are assessing different options for an electronic payment system. If you're going to pay, make sure you select one that is PCI compliant. Another is to create an e-commerce site that uses SSL encryption technology, because SSL ensures that all electronic payment transactions made on your e-commerce site are safe and secure. And lastly, set up digital signatures. Digital signatures use public key infrastructure to keep each transaction secure. And to ensure privacy and confidentiality, the main purpose of digital with an online transaction, this will keep each other transactions secure. So these are digital signatures are electronic fingerprint that associates a card holder with an online transaction, and these signatures basically uses public key infrastructure to keep each particular transaction secure. And lastly, securing the web server. So the purpose in securing the web browser is to ensure privacy and confidentiality. It provides downloads of program threats and resists attacks from intruders, both from outside and inside the organization. Maintaining system availability. So availability refers to an internet site and its associated processes being on at any time, while reliability means that the site and processes are performing as it is expected. So in maintaining system availability, first requires proper planning, design, and installation, because a properly designed and installed physical network, including its cables, switches, file servers, and routers, will prevent money problems and will make it easier. Cables, switches, file servers, and routers will prevent money problems and will make it easier to locate and troubleshoot when threats occurs. And also the logical structures, such as security, login scripts, and directory structure is needed to be designed properly as well. And the last risk associated with e-business is transaction integrity and business policies. Transaction integrity provides assurance that services or products are provided to customers as requested. Information on the condition of goods, a time frame for transactions, payment and delivery terms, and a means of canceling orders or receiving support and service. The AICPA citrus practice principles define transaction integrity as the system processing should be complete, accurate, timely, and is authorized. Also, specialized controls areas are also established to ensure the non-repudiation of e-business transaction. When we say repudiation, it is the ability of a party engaged in a transaction to deny either the participation of a certain characteristics of the transaction itself, and it is a problem whenever the parties to a transactions are not physically present um, during an exchange.
Okay, so a while ago, there was a mention about repudiation, and that is a very important concept in which this is the ability of a party engaged in a transaction to deny either their participation or certain characteristics of the transaction itself. So, for example, let's say there is an order online. Is there an ability of that party to immediately dismiss any participation to the transaction, just like the order? Because if that's the case, then that's very dangerous to the organization, since others will just be ordering like prank orders, and then later on, upon claiming, so nobody will pay for the price. So that's something that a certain policy should be in place about non-repudiation, that whoever will be the customers will not be able to deny immediately. Otherwise, certain already like hold or clawback about them will be present, so that the organization, especially the seller or sellers, will be protected. All right, especially for parties to a transaction which are or who are not present later, or who are not present in that particular sales transaction. Because if, for example, it's just a matter of online, it's going to be like a matter of trust and confidence between the parties. So that's why it is an issue. Anyway, let's proceed now to the next part.
System processing, the non-parties to
So I think we are now here.
evolving as organizations learn what constitutes the best practices, and there should be a business policy for each event within a business process. So the IT auditor's responsibility with respect to e-business policies is to ensure that the established policies meet organizational objectives and to assess the degree to which these policies are observed. So if there is a lack of business policies for activities in a particular organization, such as processing returns of particular merchandise that was purchased online, can possibly be a risk indicator for e-business. That is why business policies serves as an important tool to ensure that the business operate at its maximum efficiency and operates smoothly. And that will be the end of my report. Thank you for listening and keep safe always. Bye.
All right. So Pasinio already said her piece about the end. So thank you very much, Miss Pasinio, for your respective reports. Hopefully, we all learned in the process. So the parts there were explained thoroughly and exhaustively. That's how you should present. Anyhow, I wish us all the best. As said by Pasinio, let's keep ourselves safe wherever we are, whether at home or in the office with our work or in the streets or wherever we are. And then see you next time in another learning session in groups about auditing in a CIS environment. So chapter 8 is up next. All right. So thank you very much once again, and have a good day, and God bless us all.